What's going on, everyone? Slovosh here, bringing you some Marvel Heroes gameplay with Ultron on the test center. I wanted to quickly bring you my physical build that I've been toying around with. I'm just going to go ahead and throw this out there as a disclaimer. A lot of people are going to be Ultron as a summoner or an energy-based character, but I chose physical just because I didn't see anyone else doing it. So I wanted to test those skills out, and there's one skill in particular that I think is fucking awesome. I hope you guys enjoy this build. I'm just going to run over it real quick. I've tried to do this video twice now, but I keep getting disconnected because I must not be doing too much here in test center other than running around. So let's just cut to the chase here. I'm going to go over my skills. Everything in this build is focusing around the crushing force tree. Let me take my toggles off so you can see this. Basically, anything I have 20 points in, which means max in my case, as you can see right here. We'll just go over it quickly. We got 20 points in Operation Crush, 20 points in Concussion Blasters, 20 points into Force Blast, 20 points in Operation Slam, 20 points into Operation Smash, got 20 points into We Are Ultron, and I have 20 points into Ultron Prime. Now I'm going to go over the build and how I use it so that we can discuss why I'm using certain things. This build is focused around the physical damage type. It is also, I guess, almost kind of considered melee, but there's only really two moves in his kit. That's Melee Strike and Force Blast that are melee tagged. So these are the only two moves that really force you to get up and close. I just hate those words. Operation Smash is also melee. You kind of jump in and punch the ground pretty big. So it's a pretty badass move, actually. So this is typically the play style I have. I have the left click as Force Blast. This is my main spender. It's basically just punches the air kind of thing. Right now we'll just go through it like that. But this move is what you'll be using primarily, just to click lock a guy. So you want up and click lock him like that. His dash is Operation Dash. This is just a standard dash. As you pass through people, you physical damage to them. Everything in this build will be focused around the gravity matrix specialization, which I wanted to show you how specializations here will take away points of your bandwidth, because everything in this build is also based around a secondary mechanic, which is bandwidth. This is basically how many things Ultron can do at one time. It's kind of like magic, where she has so many points that she can summon and use in her armor and shit like that. It's basically copy and paste of magic in this sense for that mechanic. But as you use a specialization, boom, there it is, you get 30% of your bandwidth reserved. You can see that as the very last line of gravity matrix. I'm going to try to continue to move around and stuff so they don't think I'm standing still. But this build is focused around physical damage, and it's focusing around the skills kind of outlined in the specialization here. So the way this works is we got Concussion Blast. This is kind of like your opener cone move. You do that one time, it goes on cooldown, and through this specialization here you can see it says cooldown powers now reserve 20% bandwidth for 6 seconds in exchange for 10% damage. So we have a lot of cooldown moves, because what we're going to do is we're going to use our additional bandwidth that we have to soak up some of this, or these cooldown moves are going to soak up some of that bandwidth for 6 seconds. They're on 8-second cooldown, cycles. So for 6 seconds, we're going to gain 10 damage per bandwidth that we have used. So you can get up to a potential of 30. You'll see a buff icon pop up over here. So for 4, 3, 2, 1, we have 20% reserved. But for every one of those we get, and that can stack up to 3 times, you basically get 10% more damage. So if we do 2 moves like Operation Crush, which is you throw a giant rock and it pierces through guys, actually hits like a truck. I didn't realize this until later on of testing this. But his Operation Crush move, as it passes through people, does quite a bit of damage. But that counts as a cooldown, so it takes your bandwidth away. Now, I like to run the Operation Repair toggle on. This is basically, since I don't have any summons, once it's fully synergized, this will help with you staying alive, I've figured out. So you only have the option to get 20% additional damage with this build. If you feel you know, like you have enough life, then you don't need to use Operation Repair. You can gain, you know, all those back, so you get 3 more lines, which lets you hit that 30% extra damage cap, which may be worth it, to be honest. But I've been doing the damage mitigation, you know, as I've been running through. I haven't even come close to dying. It's just been really fun. Ultron right now, he's having a lot of spirit problems, so hopefully they fix that in the final build. But basically, we are doing our lead off, which is typically the Operation Smash. As you can see, if I look up here, he can dive out and do an AoE kind of crush move. Looks like this. As he lands on the ground, these dudes are weakened. It does a tick of damage. And once we're in here, we're going to use our Concussion Blast, and that adds another dot layer, so they're ticking away pretty damn good. You can click lock and start that thing going where you're punching them, and as your cooldowns are still taken away, you know, taking away bandwidth, you get additional damage on your basic or your melee punch. So it adds up pretty quickly how much damage you can do. But this is a good range move if you wanna toss it out, pierce through some guys. This is my favorite move that we got. It's called Operation Slam. Basically, you just shoot guys off the ground like they just hit a trampoline. They go straight up in the air, and if it's a trash mob, they'll just come down as raining dead bodies. It's the funnest move I've ever seen in this game, I think. But it looks kind of like this. So you got a big range area you can get, and then let's look up here. You can see the size of that circle. It's actually kind of big. You just click, and then everyone in that circle just goes straight up in the air, and they die. Coolest move I've seen in this game, for sure. We are Ultron. This is a sweet signature. I just did a video with Count Chocula, awesome YouTuber, by the way. And we agree that this signature is pretty badass. He just calls in a bunch of Ultron heads, and anyone inside this AoE area just takes damage. It probably needs some damage tuning right now, but it does pretty good damage over time. Lasts for 6 seconds. Has a really short cooldown, which is nice, so you can use it a lot. So that's something I use pretty much on cooldown, since it's just an AoE, like big damage zone. I mean, it's already back. Isn't that fucking ridiculous? So you can just drop that into a huge crowd. But before you drop that, I would recommend doing your Ultron Prime. This is one of the things you have 20 points in. This is basically his steroid buff, as I like to call it, because as you activate this, he glows red, and then he just gains incredible amounts of critical damage, brutal damage, crit hit, and everything else. And I'm wearing a ton of gear on my kit that increases the duration of this to make it last longer. But it has passive effects of just damage and damage for your summons if you play this build. So this is probably something everyone's going to have 20 points in. But if you use it as a steroid buff, it glows red like that, and his hits do a ton more damage. So as you're fighting down the bosses in like Midtown or something like that, you definitely want to hit your steroid buff. Has a pretty quick cooldown as well, so 20 seconds. Keep that up a lot of the time, especially if you have some gear on that increases your duration. So for me, I'm using the X-Men suit because it's got 10% power duration. I'm still looking for a slot one, to be honest, but I haven't found it. Coat of the Skull is going to be probably pretty solid for him because, again, it has that power duration. Skrull military uniform, power duration. Essence of Jin, power duration. Trying to time that with his awesome powering up kind of sound. Using Bless Flag of the Skrull Empire. I'm using the Sacred White Gorilla Necklace. Using Doctor Doom for the power duration. Lizard Formula to try to help with some of the mana problems right now. And then Gem of the Curse. But once his mana problems are solved, I'd probably switch to the Fist of Apocalypse. Using the Savage Axe of Ares. I'm using God of Mischief because, again, power duration. It's funny how I keep timing that. And then Physical Signet for his ring. Okay, so that is his loadout. I got Trifecta Core on him with all the critical damages. Just had that laying around in the stash, so I used it. But let's finish off what's on bar 2, okay? And then we'll go into Midtown. I'm really trying not to desync from the server. I need to go like punch something real quick. Okay, so hopefully he thinks I'm still here. Okay, so on the second bar we have his toggle, which is Operation Repair. This is his health regeneration per second and maximum health. In this kit, it's only a 1-point wonder because you're just letting your skills power it up. If the max health scaled to the amount of points put into it, it'd be a lot better. But right now it's a 1-point wonder. Indestructible body, this is your point dump. This is basically where after you've maxed this and this and this and this and this and this and this, and you put all your 1 points and all those other things, you're dumping all the rest of the points in here. So all the rest of your points, I think it's maybe 8 or 9 probably, those are going into indestructible body just because it's passive defense, which will help keep you alive better. So that's the build basically. Slot 2, I mean on the second bar I have his flight move, which is his new free flight move. This is his crowd control breaker, and I don't use any of his summons right now, but I put him on because you automatically get the close combat drones all the time. So there's that. Let's go into Midtown, try a little gameplay real quick with it so you can see what kind of damage numbers he's putting up. And I really want to show you Operation Slam. I don't know why it's called Operation Slam, because he doesn't actually push them back down to the ground. It just literally hurls them in the air. So watch these guys up here. They're just going to fucking take off. All dead. It's pretty ridiculous. Okay, so basically we're already having spirit problems, as you can see. So in between the waves, let's make these guys take off. Hit him with the rock. Does some serious damage. Basically, you're just walking up and you're doing your melee, your force blast on people, dropping in with the Operation Smash, and then you're hitting them with the concussion blasters right off the bat. So between this and this, there's tons of dots going on. And then if you're fighting a real stubborn guy, that's how these guys take off for us. Given this is normal Midtown, so let me adjust some of this music down real quick. I don't know why it's so high. There we go. So I wish this concussion blaster had a little more range, but as long as you're diving in first with the crush, it usually hits. And between those two, you're doing lots of ticks of just like dot damage. The rock does quite a bit of damage once you have your 2 stacks up. So after you do this and you do your blasters, your rock should hit pretty damn hard. Just passes through guys. Launching people in the air is the funnest thing I think I've ever seen in this game. Basically, just take trash mobs and hurl them in the air. See ya! And they just come down dead. It's amazing. I don't know why that entertains me so much, but this is what I imagine his melee build or physical build will be like. I can't really fathom, with the current state of how things are looking, it being much different than this. So that's pretty much the build. I hope you guys have enjoyed watching some of this. If you have any questions, I will do what I can to answer them. I've probably got about an hour and a half under my belt of playing this build, but so far it's been really fun, and it's nice to not see like a billion Ultrons running around, because there probably won't be too many physical type melee builds. Hit him with the rock. Concussion? Okay. So, yeah, it's just a change of pace, guys. If you want to try the physical build, this will probably be the way it will run. We'll see how things progress, though, in the test center. He's got, like I said, some spirit problems, and I will continue to try out other builds like his energy and his summon. And then before he's out, I will probably make my best recommendation on how he should be played. But again, I am going balls to the walls with his artifacts and his gearing, so that he has basically the in-game gear that type of play style would focus on. So that's why you have the test center, so you can test stuff, test him how he'd be in the end game. Things that really help him a lot are things like the box keepsakes, because the spirit is so bad. That guy died standing up. There he goes. But, yep, I don't want to keep rambling on, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.